I'll just do the regular. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Knights of the Kitchen Table. My name is Brennan, and as always, except for last week, I'm joined by Spencer.
Hey.
Jordan.
Hello there.
And Minty.
Hello, I am still minty fresh.
Nice.
On today's episode, we'll be talking about cards that we hate in Commander and Magic in general. But first, let's talk a little bit about what's going on the channel this week. Spencer, what's going on the channel?
So you may have just missed it. If you have, go back and check it in our Twitch logs. We did a feudal episode on Sunday with feudal-themed, medieval-themed decks. What was everybody playing for that?
I was playing Kenrith, and I was playing a Monty Python themed deck, or I will be. But when this comes out, it definitely is in the past.
Yeah, I can't believe I won.
Wow,
I doubt that, Brennan.
It was crazy.
That confidence. But yeah.
So yeah,
I will be playing Ora, Skyclave Hierophant, and it's
Very cool.
very cool.
And I'm playing Kestia the Cultivator, and my deck theme is peasants and farmers.
Love it. All right.
And I'm going to tread on Brennan's throat for the whole game.
I think Brennan wins in Flavor Town there.
Pardon?
Yeah, I got the flavor victory.
You what?
He is Guy
Ow.
Fieri of Farmers.
I spent $18 on a Zodiac Rooster. So
Spencer, what are you playing?
Oh yeah, I am playing. I'm playing a rogues deck. That's the tribal. It's Anoan.
All right.
Yeah, it's gonna be sort of the vagrants, the vagabonds, the People's Society forgot and lost, and they said, you know what? Let's go rob some places. Let's break in and steal stuff. That's what they do.
Sounds great.
yeah, so we'll be fighting for the monarchy tonight, and if you're listening to this, you can find it most likely on YouTube at youtube.com/thecanadageeks. Yeah, so also on Thursday, we have week 4, finally, of our Economander stream, or League stream. So that'll be really fun. And then the following Sunday, so that is the 29th of November at 8 p.m. EST on Twitch, we'll be playing new Commander Legends decks. Decks built around a legend from Commander Legends.
Mm.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
I'm playing in that one, aren't I?
You are, yeah.
I am all over the place at the moment. Well, not all over the place. I'm all over the channel at the moment.
Yeah, you're playing the Fizzler himself.
I'm playing Vitsi the Fizzler, yeah.
Who else is
but on
coming
a
on that
really
one?
good day.
Donnie from Filthy Casuals, or
Nice.
Cardboard Pippin on Instagram, and friend of the channel, Les.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. The fuck is this thing? Commander's
Cardboard
Arsenal.
Arsenal?
Commander's Arsenal.
Oh, Commander's
Yeah.
Arsenal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Too many commanders in the community.
Yeah, come up with an original name if you're going to do something.
Yeah.
Very cool.
But yeah, so, has anyone played any interesting games this week?
Yeah, our last Thursday was an event. We didn't do a Commander. We took the week off, and what we did instead was just a casual game of Commander, and we had 2 games that were very eventful, with some really interesting plays. Les got one of the perfect wins, because he had a Noxious Revival in hand that he didn't play earlier, and it let him get the card he needed to score that win. It was beautiful. Highly recommend anybody listening to this go check it out again. That was just last Thursday, so we're talking about the 19th. You can find it on Twitch. I also had a fun move where I was able to kill somebody with an infect swing, then Illusionist's Gambit somebody into someone else's face, and then Reigns of Power for the win, which felt really good. So we had a lot of great plays in both of the games, and everybody got to do what they wanted to do.
That sounds sweet. I haven't watched that one because obviously it was at like 1 o'clock in the morning for me. So I'm gonna go back and watch the replay.
Hell yeah!
I will be playing today with a couple of my mates who I haven't played with in a long time. So I'm really looking forward to that.
So you're gonna
that's gonna be
full day of Magic
later on today. Yeah, full day of Magic. My partner is absolutely thrilled.
Worst ways to spend a Sunday.
But I've been building a lot of decks. So I've taken apart 3 or 4 decks, and I've built new commanders from the Commander Legends. So I've got a Grixis Landfall deck with Togo, the Goblin Weaponsmith, and Silas Wren. So I'm looking forward to playing that at some point. I've got Zara Renegade Recruiter, which I've done a video on, and is on my channel. And then I've got... Oh, what's the other one? Oh, of course, Bel Barocca.
Yeah.
Old Barocca boy. His real name is Bel Borka. Spectral Spirit or something. Spectral something or other.
Soldier.
Yeah.
He's an interesting one.
Spectral Sergeant. Yeah, I built a deck and it's very... very janky.
Well, you hilariously pulled an etched foil in like the last pack of your box.
Yeah. Jesus. Yeah, that was really funny actually, because we've been talking about that and we've been joking about how I like the card and it's like just like a pet card, I suppose. And then I get I get one in my box, an etched foil. The only etched foil I get is Bel Borka.
It was meant to be.
Yeah, it was.
I think that's all the catching up we have to do. So, should we just jump into our main topic? I feel like there's been a lot of discussion about some of these cards.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyone like to go first?
I always go first, so I'll do it again.
All right.
He always wants to.
I think we need to specify. I think we need to specify this. We don't hate you if you play these cards. We just don't like the cards. Okay, Brennan might actually hate you, so that's fine. But most normal people won't hate you if you play these cards. We just don't like them for our own sort of special reasons.
Play what you want. I would say a lot of these. Tell your pod that you're playing them.
Yeah. So so that I just wanted to specify that beforehand. And we've got some silly ones as well. We've got some ones that we just don't like for random reasons, but there's some in here that are probably a bit more universally disliked. The other thing that I wanted to say is that everyone's having quite a difficult time with like lockdown, and this is mainly meant to be a joke video or joke podcast. We're meant to have a bit of fun with it. It's not like in serious nature. So just laugh at what we say. Don't take it too seriously.
Yeah, it's not the negativity podcast.
If you're taking us seriously, you're not taking us seriously enough.
Or
just don't listen to us. I mean, listen to us.
Just don't listen to us. Yeah, don't listen to what we have to say. We're idiots, all of us. Okay, let's go. Let's start. Okay.
Maybe cut some of that.
Yeah. No, I'm going to leave it all in. I have the power here. Okay, the first card I want to talk about is Chromium, the Mutable, and I have a very weird dislike for this card. This is one of the weird ones, and I really like everything about the card. So I like the fact that it's like fairly aggressively costed because it has flash and is a 7/7 flyer. It can't be countered, and it's got a really cool ability that you can discard a card, and until the end of turn, it becomes a 1/1 unblockable human. Does it have hexproof as well? Let me see.
It gets hexproof, yeah.
Cool. It gets hexproof as well. So I really like the card, and I think actually it's one of those cards that in like 2 years' time you'll look back at and you'll go, oh, there's so many cool new things to do with Chromium. But I can't bring myself to play it because I just hate the art. I just really dislike the art. Chromium, in my opinion, and it's me just having unrealistic beauty standards for giant metal dragons. That's the problem, is that this is a giant metal dragon, and they've really not made it at all look like a giant metal dragon.
What is your opinion on the old Chromium?
The old Chromium art is fine, and the old Chromium is okay as well. It's like got Rampage or something, and it's fine if you play the old Chromium.
I meant the art specifically. Sorry.
Oh, the art is fine. Yeah, it's a big metal dragon, exactly how it should be. How do you make this metal dragon look so soft?
I actually
and,
got to meet
liquidy.
the artist for the original, Edward Beard Jr. Really nice.
For the
guy.
original, for this one.
So yeah, the original Chromium, not the new art. I didn't meet the guy who did the new art. If I do, I'll let him know that Minty's not a fan.
I hate it. Yeah, he's clearly crap at his job. No, that is not what I'm trying to say here. I just don't specifically like this piece, and it just looks, I don't know, it looks a little Digimon, it looks a little Pokemon, and he doesn't quite fit into the background, and he does look like he's made of some sort of weird metal slime, and I just don't know how you took the idea of a giant metal dragon, like literally a transformer, and came up with this. And that's why I can't play the card. I just don't like playing it and I like everything about it, bar the art, and I just can't get over it.
Remember that Ikoria promo that came out, and it was like one of the Mecha Godzillas with all the the guns and stuff shooting out of it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is that like your more appropriate artwork towards what Chromium would look like?
Yeah, something along those lines. Like Mecha Godzilla is okay, but I just think how did you take the brief giant metal dragon and come up with something that looks so, and the pose as well just looks like it looks like my cat about to pounce on a ball or something, and it's just a big no. It's just why didn't you cover it in blood and metal and have it holding a guitar and holding the head of the enemy that it just slew in battle with its mega music? It's a giant metal dragon.
I find it interesting that they even went for this style. I get it's a little different, but WotC has tons of art of metal dragons. I mean, that's an entire class of dragons in D&D. And Bahamut, their god, is like a platinum dragon. I'm just surprised that this is what they turned out with, I guess.
Yeah, I was thinking more along the lines of I don't know. When this card was spoiled, I was like, that art looks computer generated, like a computer generated 3D image. It might not be. It might be an oil painting for all I know, but it looks like very digitized, and that's another reason that it's just a little bit off about it. Anyway, it's a ridiculous thing. What I'm saying is completely ridiculous. If you like this card, go you. But it's it's just something I struggle with.
So if you watch that Thursday stream, you're actually going to see a lot of him. I played him just for you.
Oh no, I don't like you anymore, Spencer. That's it. We're not friends. Yeah. So Chromium. I wish I might get an altar of him, just so I can play him and then not have to look at art of a not up to my standards of giant metal dragons.
I just have no opinions on the art of Chromium the Mutable.
Neither do I. I think it looks fine.
Really? You think it looks fine?
I think it looks fine. Yeah,
really?
It's
well, that's an opinion, and I disagree.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's chrome, and when I think of chrome, I think of old chromed out Cadillacs with the smoothed out bumpers and stuff like that, where it's all very long chrome edges and things like that. I think it's very apt for Chromium.
Now I'm imagining him with hydraulics.
I think he looks a bit too like Chrome made flesh, and the fleshiness of it just doesn't do it for me. It looks a bit like stretched.
I like that part, actually. The thing that I don't like is how... This is something that I've always noticed about the card, is that I don't like how delicate and fragile he appears.
Yes.
He's a dragon. He should be fierce. I love the liquid coat look to the color of the platinum and the silver chrome thing going on, but I don't want to feel like I'm gonna tap the dragon and he just shatters.
Well, yeah. maybe it's like Colossus from X-Men, where he just gets armor on top of him after, or his skin just hardens or something.
True.
Yeah, and I understand the flavour of him being a bit more liquid is so he can sort of liquefy himself like Terminator 2 style and turn into a man. And that's his whole ability, isn't it?
Oh, that makes way more sense in the the liquid chrome kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he does.
I sort of see that. But
did we solve it?
I think we solved it.
Solved chromium.
I still don't like the art.
Conspiracy theory: chromium is actually Solemn Simulacrum. He's Sad Robot.
Oh.
Oh, he turns into Sad Robot.
Yeah,
his face looks a little bit similar.
Turns into a human, they say, but it's if you saw a silver human walking around, you'd be like, oh, that's a sad robot.
I think I'd say probably something let's steer clear of that guy. Maybe I'm silverist. Oh dear.
Who wants to go next?
Well volunteered, Jordan.
Sounds good. Mine's going to be a little different just because I haven't played a whole bunch of Commander like you guys have. So mine's mainly going to be my experiences from playing Standard. And lately there's been a lot of annoying BS in Standard. I'll start with Ugin because I really, really hate Ugin. He's an 8-drop, legendary planeswalker, +2, Ugin deals 3 damage to any target, -X. Exile each permanent with converted mana cost X or less, that's 1 or more colors. -10, you gain 7 life, draw 7 cards, and then put up to 7 permanent cards from your hand onto the battlefield. I've had a lot of experience with this at my LGS on my Fridays, and when M21 came out on Arena, this was basically all I saw for a little while. And in my experience with it in Standard in paper, I know there's the one guy that literally has 4 of them in a deck, and he just play now he's playing Esper Doom Foretold with Ugin in it, and is he's doing something where he he's trying to go to protect himself from mill, because there's quite a heavy mill meta in my LGS, so he puts it in his sideboard and he pulls it from his sideboard, so there's no way to stop him from getting it first of all, and then once it's out, there's really not much you can do about it unless you're running planeswalker removal essentially, and then even when it's gone and he's exiled everything and then you get rid of it, he just pulls another one out kind of thing. So that's my main
he wishes for it, does he?
Yeah, he keeps in his, I can't remember what the card is, but he keeps it in his sideboard. Fae of Wishes, yeah, that's exactly what it is, yeah.
Yeah, or what's the wish actually called on Fae of Wishes? Because it's 2 different spells, isn't it? It's called whatever. Yeah.
It
so he wishes for
appear
Ugin
on
and then,
screen.
Yes, it will.
Yeah. But so so that's basically the main line for it. You Fae of Wishes it, and then you'll put it down, and then there'll be Elspeth Conquers Death, and then you'll drop a Urion, and then you just basically rotate the thing where you exile something, then you put it back on, and then it gets rid of your thing, and then Ugin comes out, and then you know what I mean. It's just a whole cluster of just bad times, bad times and stuff.
It's well, in Standard, with 4 of it's a continuous board wipe, and the fact that it can exile each permanent with CMC 7, and then on his next turn play another one, and then chances are you have a CMC 2 thing because you're trying to rebuild, and you can probably just shock it or lightning bolt it with the first ability.
Yeah, and that like rebuilding is the main thing, right? Like that's the one of the main issues with it because it's like it's hard to get rid of, and then once it gets rid of everything, you have to rebuild it, and then once even if you do have the means to build your board state back up, pretty much nearly everything that you got back up is going to go again the next turn anyway.
Yeah,
and with it being exiled as well, like if it's in the graveyard, you can't get it back. So
he's a difficult card to deal with in EDH when you've got 4 players. So in standard, it must be a real cluster to try and get rid of him.
The only guys in the LGS that have beaten it is mono blue Mill and mono red Winds. And that's only because they've been going so fast and so aggressive. Because you got to get the 8 lands out, or you got to ramp it out quick before you can do anything. So like really, the only sort of way that I've seen to deal with those types of decks is just going quick, going fast, and just get rid of the player before Ugin can come out.
Yeah, you either have to out tempo it or play enough anti planeswalker stuff that your deck's not good at other things. In EDH, I don't think he's as good. I think he's still very good. Ooh. But I don't think he's as good because you still have that's the thing with planeswalkers in general is you have 3 other players that are all going to be swinging at it. Planeswalkers are just across the board weaker in this format. They're a little better if they're your commander because then you can bring them back and they function as a secondary source of life in a way. But if they're not commanders, then they struggle to stay on the field, and you usually have them in your deck for their minus ability, which of course Ugin has in spades, which is actually why he's played primarily in planeswalker decks and artifact decks and Eldrazi Tribal.
I think I would sort of disagree. I think he's really good. I think he's very, very good. I think he's a basically universal board wipe in any colour. So you can run him in any deck and you'll be happy to see him as a board wipe. Most decks will get to 8 mana. So I think just as a board wipe in any deck, I think he's very, very good. I think he's one of the strongest planeswalkers in EDH.
I agree too. Like even like colors that struggle with like actual board wipes, like green, for instance. You can ramp this guy out like fairly quickly. Chances are he's still going to be alive after you minus X him, and then it's up to people to try and kill him, and then you just get more value off it. And I think
he's actually. Carry on. Sorry, Brennan.
There is doubling season as well. Comes in, you can ult him right away. As a build around, it's I think really good, and as just a card in the 99, it's probably one of the better board wipes.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think especially in green decks, he's problematic in green decks. Well, anything is problematic in a green deck, but his minus X in a green deck just tends to, because it's X or less. It tends to you can get into a situation where you've played him minus X and you end up with just having all of your big green creatures left on the board, and it can be one-sided in many cases. Also, if you proliferate him once and then uptick him, he's in ultimate range straight away. So he starts on 7 and he only needs to get to 10 to ultimate. He's challenging to deal. That's what I said. What I said previously. He's just challenging to deal with. I think 3 damage has become much more relevant as well. So the 3 damage to any target becomes a lot more relevant nowadays because the format is so much quicker. So you get a lot more smaller creatures, and the +2 to kill something like, I don't know, an Akiri or something,
or even something that's flying that could actually reach him as well.
That's good.
I'd agree. He's definitely one of the best planeswalkers. I am definitely on board with that.
Yeah,
and this is probably why we don't like seeing him across the table from us.
I don't actually hate him. I quite like him. but I can understand why you'd be really frustrated with him in standard, because it must be so challenging to deal with once he's there and once they've established the loop that Jordan's talking about. It must be so annoying to try and get rid of, and almost impossible.
Well, they're saying once you get rid of it, like if he has another one, like that's coming out the next turn, right? So
when he's got 4 of them in his deck, it seems like at least once you've killed one or exiled one or whatever, you've dealt with one in Commander, you are fairly sure that it's gone.
Well, I'll talk about a card that's on both of our lists, and that is Goblin Game. This card has a ton of words on it. It says, each player hides at least one object. Then all players reveal them simultaneously. Each player loses life equal to the number of objects he or she revealed. The player who revealed the fewest objects then loses half his or her life, rounded up. If 2 or more players are tied for the fewest, each loses half his or her life, rounded up.
Say that drop 3 times.
Yeah, so this card is just horrible. The way you generally play it, you just bid the life. Like everyone just picks a random or picks a number, and that's what you do instead of hiding objects. But the reason I hate this card, the first time I went into my LGS to play some Commander, because they have a big Commander community there, I sat down with a Depala 7 Dwarves deck where I was trying to make a bunch of 7 Dwarves, and I told the guys what I was playing, and they're like, oh yeah, I'll play my bad deck or whatever. So I ended up against some Stacks deck, and it was just awful. But a guy ramped into this. I forget exactly how he did it, but he played it super early, and it's a 7 mana sorcery, and I had never seen it before. So they explained to me what we do. So I bid 20 life, because I'm like, okay, for sure 20 is gonna be really high. I'll be fine. So I think that I ended up being the lowest, so I lost 20 life, and then I lost half my life remaining, rounded up, so I lost 30 life total.
Ew.
Yeah. So I was sitting there, I think it was turn 3 or turn 4, this thing came out, and I was just sitting there with 10 life, and I had basically lost the game already. So yeah, I fucking hate this card.
Yes, just bizarre, isn't it? I just have no, you're reading it. So say I bid 20 life, like you're saying, I would say, oh, okay, I've hidden my 20 objects. Imagine actually playing that. Imagine actually going around your LGS and just hiding 20 objects.
Yeah, the reason why people bid is exactly that reason, is because it's objects that aren't actually part of the game. You could be hiding coins, dice, shoestrings. It really doesn't matter.
So funny.
And it just brings these random items that are outside the game in. I think that's largely why I hate it, is it plays outside of the rule of a regular Magic card that is legal. It feels like it's a unglued card, and I don't know why it's in the game.
Yeah, when I read this, I thought it was one of those silver border ones, and there's nothing if I know I've got this in my deck, there's nothing stopping me coming to the table and putting a bunch of trinkets in my pocket. You know what I mean?
But it's so silly. It's just so stupid. Why objects? Why not just bid? I just don't understand. Imagine actually going taking I suppose you just hide your whole your dice box or something.
That's what I say. I've got 70 d6 in my pocket.
Yeah, I think the sort of category I'll put this card in is just cards that are bad to play against new players. Because I had no idea what this card even did, as we're sort of discussing right now. It's just a weird card, and it doesn't really have any business being an EDH apart from just catching one person and just absolutely destroying them, especially if they're new. Yeah.
It's also super meta dependent, isn't it? So when you said, oh, I'm gonna say 20 because that seems like a really high number to me, and then everyone else says 40 or whatever, it's you have no idea as the person coming into that meta what the Goblin Game meta choice is.
Yeah.
So
Do you know what I mean?
There's like a math thing you can do with this though. Because you have the chance of losing half your life on top of whatever life loss you're taking, people are trying to minimize their loss. So choosing the exact same number as like 20, you'd still be losing half your life if you're at 40 life. It would be even worse if you're lower life. So what you generally want to do is take half your life and then cut it in half again, and that would be the minimum. So if you're at 40 life, the minimum that you should ever choose is 10, which means you're generally going to choose between 10 and 15 because you don't want to get too little out of it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that's completely dependent on how people usually play Goblin Game. So if they know that the person across the table, because they're part of the meta, and they know that, say it's their mate playing the Goblin Game, if they know the person better, they will have a better chance of not losing half their life because they can bid to know what the other player is going to bid. Mm-hmm. So if you're a new player in that meta, that would be incredibly difficult. Oh, so like Brennan made a sensible choice of like 20. Okay, that seems like a massive number. And to me, I was like, 20? You bid 20 life? I bid like 5.
And then I took 30.
But I think here, actually, the best thing you should do is bid 1 life. Because then you'll just take the 1 and lose half your life.
So part of this card has been integrated into a new card, and it was done actually well. And that card is Wheel of Misfortune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Wheel of Misfortune's great.
I'm really looking forward to seeing it in action.
I have 2. They're in my binder because I don't want to play it.
I do feel like there is an element of what I'm saying is some tables you're going to sit down and everyone's going to bid like 35 life to Wheel of Misfortune, and other tables people will be like, I'm going to bid 10 as a maximum. So it's so meta dependent on how, like, I'd be interested to play, because obviously I play in 2 different metas. I play with you guys and your Canadian friends or American friends, and I also play with my group of friends here in England, and it would really be interesting to play a lot of Wheel of Misfortune and see if people tend to bid higher in different metas, because I think they will.
Yeah. All right, Spencer.
All right. So I'm gonna pick a well-known Chaos card. I think it is, of all the Chaos cards, I think it's the worst one. The reason I think it's the worst one is because it sticks around and it affects the stack directly. Other Chaos cards will mix the permanents around on the battlefield and stuff like that. This messes with the stack, and that just upsets me. It is called Grip of Chaos. 6 to cast, red card, enchantment. Whenever a spell or ability is put onto the stack, if it has a single target, reselect its target at random. This card was a lot worse back in the day before there were a lot of these modal or multi-target spells. Before, you generally had single target spells and globals. That's less the case these days. So there are definitely things that slide past grip, but that also means that it's actually easier for a player to slot this in their deck and then build around it. So they can play spells that are modal or multi-target and not have to worry about Grip of Chaos while everybody else has to. It is a pain of a card, and it's very difficult to destroy because somebody says, "Oh, I'll play my disenchant on it." Oh, my disenchant just blew up my soul ring.
Yeah,
I really like this card.
Oh, Jordan, you pig!
I love chaos. I love chaos.
Oh, I hate this. I hate it. I hate it.
I'd like to add in, if you're going to play a chaos deck and you really like chaos decks, you should be able to do that. But make sure that you talk to your playgroup, let them know what you're playing, because if you don't, they're probably going to not be happy if you sit down and start whipping out your Grip of Chaos.
Yeah, especially over like VEDH.
Oh god, it sucks so much. what I don't like about this card is it's so annoying to play. Like, okay, I'm gonna use some targeted removal on this creature. Let me get my, D30 out and roll it to see which creature I actually hit with my targeted piece of removal. Like, it's hard to actually play this card. Like, the mechanics of the card are difficult to organise, especially over VEDH, but like even in person, that would be a real issue to be like, I don't know how to sort out, it's a little bit like
you have to allocate every card a number.
No, you would roll the player. You would roll the player randomly, and then roll the permanent that they like, however many permanents they own randomly.
Sure, but
which is the other
even
thing.
then,
If you show up with this card, bring D4s, bring D6s, bring everything right up to D100, because you're gonna need it, or the double D10s, right? Like 2 of those, because you're gonna need them. And the sad part is the number of targets might not always match the number of sides of your dice.
Yeah, and that's just a pain. It's a bit like the new Rakdos, isn't it? The Rakdos, the coin flipping one.
Yeah.
Which has sort of the excuse of being like, oh, well, this was obviously made for a digital era of the game where, it was in standard for its time, and then when you played it in standard, it would obviously resolve it for you. But in EDH, that's a really difficult card to play because you have to basically roll for every single person's creatures to see, or flip a coin for every single person's creatures to see whether they survive or not. And it can be, and coin flipping, like you can get it down quite well. Like I used to play it quite a lot, and I feel like once you've got the weight of the coin, you can tend to flip it the same every single time. Well, that's me just really cheating, cool. But
really cool.
How do you guys feel about just chaos, like chaos decks and chaos as a concept in Magic? Do you guys enjoy it? Do you really dislike it?
I dislike it.
Yeah,
I kind of like it.
Brennan would.
Like I would never build one, I don't think, but like I don't know. Every once in a while, playing against chaos deck is like kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm playing. I like honestly, I think it's just one of the most pure forms of fun to have for a deck, because it's like a lot of it's just completely random. Like even I think if you just go in not trying to win and just trying to do stupid stuff with your deck, like you'll have a blast, and like as long as you let everyone know that's the object of the deck is just do stupid stuff. Like that's how I would design it.
Yeah, yeah. Like this card in particular, like it's kind of interesting. Like if you're playing against an Enchantress deck or something, and someone goes to put a buff on one of their creatures, and it just reselects it, buff somebody else's creature, or like I want to put my Swiftfoot boots on this creature, and then it just equips to something else instead.
Oh, I hate it.
Chaos
can
be fun.
No, it's never fun.
But most decks that build chaos are not trying to be fun. Yeah. I also want to point out that coin flip decks are different than chaos decks. Coin flip is a lot of fun. I always like to see a coin flip deck. Bring them out. I play Zinder Split and Okon. I think it's amazing, and I highly recommend people try that out.
I'm going to pick your brain about that later, actually.
Oh hell yeah!
So I think we have time for one more card for each person.
Okay.
All right.
Should we go back in order? Oh yeah, okay, it's me again. Okay, I'm not going to talk about. Okay, hang on. Let me select if I've got to talk about. Okay, so I will talk very briefly about 4 color commanders then. Okay, so I've put on my list 4 color commanders as cards that I dislike, and this is just. So it's the main 4. So that's Atraxa, Breya. Ooh, I'm trying to remember them off the top of my head, which is always K&T, and who's the last one? Saskia, that's the one. Or any combination of partners which gives you 4 colours. And what I don't like about these decks is it's just not my personal play style. And when I see them, it just frustrates me a little bit because I feel that they're just good stuff decks. And specifically the ones that contain green are... I really have a problem with green anyway, but like they just feel like I'm going to take all of the cards from these colours and jam them into a deck and then play that deck. And I don't feel like they have a particular, like I say, like a particular theme or strategy attached to them that runs all the way through the deck. And that's just not the way that I like to play. So,
what about, does that include like partner commanders? Or is it just specifically 4 color commanders?
So specifically 4 color commanders or any combination of partners which gives you 4 colors. Gotcha. So like Vial Smasher, which we'll talk about in a second, Vial Smasher and Thrasios, as an example, give you 4 colors. And those decks, I just think they're just good stuff decks. They're just like, I've jammed a load of cards together that all are powerful on their own, and I'm going to build a deck out of that. If that's the way you want to play, that's fine. But I like my decks to have a bit more of a theme and a story, and I do get frustrated when it's just like, oh look, another generically good card from the generic good stuff deck. That's how I feel about Ugin.
I think I agree with your premise, but I disagree with your argument for it.
Yeah, fine. I'm okay with that.
Like, okay, I'll. The argument I'm making is that the partner commanders, I don't like partner in general, but I'm resigned to the fact that it's just part of the game now. They tend to focus on, usually, like, when they really are being partnered up, they're trying to customize to focus on one specific goal. And they're really good at doing that, and I don't like that. The 4 colors, I'll agree, they do tend to go for good stuffs, or they'll have a tactic, but there's so many varied tactics you can build with them. I think that's not an issue of it being 4 colors. That's an issue of card design. To that point, I'll point to the newest one, the new Omnath.
Yeah.
It is busted, and it can do...
Sorry, carry on.
It can do like one thing really well, or you could just good stuff it, and it'll still give you value. And part of the beauty of Commander back in the day was that you had to figure out how to make it work. It's a workaround format, and it's slowly becoming less and less that, faster as time goes on, actually.
I think that you've done a better job of explaining my point for me, which is that, like what you said, these decks, it doesn't really matter what you put in the deck. It's just going to be good because the commander is so inherently powerful and you have access to so many of the different powerful strategies. Mm-hmm. And then there's one particular partner that I really, really dislike, and that's Vial Smasher. And this is a silly reason, really, and it's because my brother has a Vial Smasher deck, and I play against it a fair amount, and that thing, I swear to God, has it out for me. It says random. My brother might be just using like a weighted dice or something. It says random, but that thing has hit me for more damage than like every other commander that I've played against combined. I hate it. It's constantly me, and it always feels like you're getting hit at the wrong time. You're like, oh, if I could just dodge this Vial Smasher. You're saying that in your head. You're saying like, oh, if I could just dodge this Vial Smasher hit. He's cast a spell, and we're figuring out the roll. If I could just dodge this one, I'm in a good position to actually survive this game and be, go on to actually, play some more Magic. But then, as soon as you start saying that in your head, the roll is coming up, and it's like, oh my God, it's going to hit me. I know it.
Just wait until someone comes up with the Vial Smasher and Sakashima deck, so you just have 2 Vial Smashers.
No, I don't want that. I just don't want... I also built a clone deck. I built a clone deck specifically to play against my brother's Vial Smasher, so I could clone Vial Smasher and then do it to my brother.
I love
that. And not one of them hits him.
So yeah, exactly. Or just kills everyone else but my brother.
I just want to touch on it like for a second. I kind of agree with what you're saying with the like partners in general, and I've kind of found it with, especially with Commander Legends, that the partners on their own like are powerful, and they don't really. But there's never really a partner that like goes well with another partner in terms of like building thematically. I don't know. Like they end up just being like, I'm using this partner to have the colors,
yeah, like why in it, like thematically, why would a goblin berserker team up with a merfolk wizard? Like, why would that ever happen? And why are they putting up with each other? It seems like it's like a weird house share situation where they're just like roommates because they have to be.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I kind of agree with you in terms of like building thematically that like partners or like four color commanders. I guess not really four color commanders, but partners like specifically don't lend themselves particularly well to that sort of deck building.
Yeah, and I think the same argument you could have with 5-color commanders as well, but just 4-color specifically is what I've found in my play group and my time playing Magic is just like, oh, it's a Saskia deck and I've got every good green card in here.
I think
Terrific.
Discussing partner might be like this larger topic we can also tackle
Yeah,
another day. There's so
definitely.
much there. But
Yeah,
also,
stay tuned next week.
but 4-color commanders, I would love to see more of them, but only if they print them in a way where you have to make them work, where it's not just like, oh, this is a really cool ability that will always work for you.
Yeah.
You have to make them work.
Nephilims.
Yeah, make them legendary.
Make them legendary.
You cowards.
You cowards.
Jordan, what do you got for us?
Mine's actually a surprise late entry. So mine is a collection of cards, kind of like Minnie went through, and mine is actually the Secret Lair drop series, The Walking Dead.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, my
Another
God.
full podcast.
Another
Yeah,
whole
Jordan,
podcast.
I love you.
Yeah, literally just for the premise of like wizards, I don't know, like there's so many things we could talk about it.
I
we
take
get
back
it,
my
you,
previous statement, which is if you play those cards, I do actually dislike you.
Yeah, like let's make cards that you can only get through our exclusive high-end distribution service and make them so busted that once they're done, and everybody who plays them will just be the public enemy. You know what I mean? Like, they're so broken. The only way you can get them, well, you can't get them anymore. So the only way you can get them now is secondhand market. Apparently, Wizards have said that they will do reprints of them in the future that are more thematically aligned with Magic. Why have they bought The Walking Dead into the series? Obviously it's for money, but just why? Just why does it need to be here?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's literally so many things wrong with this series of cards.
So I think what they should have done is just do the way they did it in Ikoria. Print the cards, even if they did it in the Secret Lair where you get the Magic version of the card and then it has the little text of this is Glenn from The Walking Dead, and then you have the Glenn alternate art for it. And then I think it would have been fine then. People wouldn't have been as upset as they are.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think people would have actually embraced it.
Yeah, I think I would have been fine with that. The only issue that I can see with that is, and you can see the business meeting that they had, where old Rosewater stands up and says to whoever runs The Walking Dead, ABC or whatever it is, says, "Oh, okay, so we're going to put them into the Magic the Gathering universe, and there's going to be, and they're going to be modelled like this. So you're going to have Negan the Cold-Blooded in very small lettering underneath there's another card name underneath in very small lettering, and here's Negan." And they're and you can see the producers just being like, no, we want it just to be a card on its own. And then Mark says, oh, well, okay, if we want that, then we're going to have to put this silver border around it, and it won't be legal in Eternal formats. And they're like, no, we want it to be legal, and if you don't, we're not going to give you any money.
Hasbro.
Yeah. and then
Yeah, like,
Hasbro pressured him into it.
Even with like the Ikoria like Godzilla commanders, like, or Godzilla cards, like there was still pushback from the community, but like people kind of understood. There is like Godzilla King of the Monsters, which is the buy box promo, which has text for another card like under it, but that card doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
It is weird, and it
It
feels
is
like
odd.
they could still print for it anytime. The thing that I think was the only problem I had with the Godzilla cards is the fact that you could crack them in packs. I think if you're going to have a secret layer system, that's where you do it. And it makes sense that that's where you do it. But don't just print ad revenue cards. Like, I don't want to be playing, to reference Cardboard Crack, great comic. Anyone listening, you should check it out. I don't want to be like tapping my SpongeBob for its ability and then attacking with my Kylo Ren. Like, that's not what I want to think of Magic as in 5 years.
No. And to add insult to injury as well, I think like around the time this came out, someone found a quote from, I think it was either Mark or Gavin, and it's like they were talking about not designing this set specifically, but designing stuff as just designing cards that would maybe eventually come out on Secret Lair that is only exclusive to Secret Lair, has only cards and mechanics printed exclusive to Secret Lair. And I think, like, I'm just paraphrasing here, but the quote is, it's kind of like, oh, we joked about it back in the day, but we essentially thought that it would cause too much rift, it would cause too many problems and stuff like that, and it just essentially wouldn't be good for the game. And this is, going back X amount of years, and now here we are, 2020, and the exact thing that they said they joked about and wouldn't do has now happened.
Yeah. They promised to not print exclusive cards outside of pre-cons or booster boxes. Like, they weren't going to like do promo cards that are just released with like it was before Secret Lair existed, and that's what they're using as an argument for why Secret Lair can do it. And I'm hoping that gate has now shut, but they've not made a clear statement on it.
There is no way that gate is shut, Spencer.
I don't.
There is no way. God of War themed cards coming up because of Strixhaven or whatever it's called, the barbarian set or Viking set. We'll have God of War themed cards there. We'll have Harry Potter themed cards for the
with
Wizard
Strixhaven
School
coming out. Yeah.
But mind you, if they print Harry Potter cards, I'm buying them.
Yeah, me too. My girlfriend will make me buy them, and plus, like, they're actual wizards, so it kind of like folds in. Like, I get the zombies thing, but like these, like, I just, oh man, like, so it just irates me so much.
Jordan, I will buy them, but I will also hate myself for buying them.
I will accept it if those cards are kind of like the Godzilla cards printing some other cards. If they just do exclusive releases of cards where it's like, oh yeah, now Harry Potter cards, to have this ability you need to play Voldemort the really angry. And that's how I'll feel. I'll be a little angry.
Oh, nice, Spencer, nice. That was good.
All right, so once again, we could probably do a full podcast on
we could.
Wizards' business practices. We should write this stuff down. Okay, so my last card, I guess, it's just cards like this in general, but Awaken the Erstwhile. So it's a 5-mana sorcery that says each player discards all cards in their hand and creates that many 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. So in general, it's just cards that make you discard your entire hand that bother me.
Mm.
I like this card a lot.
So I played this. I played against this card at an LGS. Once again, like, it got played before turn 5. Like, guy ramped out into it, and immediately we all discarded our hands and made zombies. He didn't even benefit from it really, and then I decided I was going to attack him with all my zombies just to screw him. So he blocked with all his, and him and I just immediately like lost the game on the spot to the other 2 players.
Nice. No fear, Brennan. I like it.
Yeah, well, I get very salty. But yeah, does anyone remember the name of like the Rakdos card that makes everybody discard their hands at the end of the turn?
Sire of...
insanity.
Yeah, Sire of Insanity.
Yeah.
So like these cards, like I don't mind them if you have like a board state or something. It's similar to like mass land destruction for me. Like if you can win because of it, then it's fine. But if you just do it and it just slows the game down, then like what was the point of doing it apart from just, I don't know, being a jerk, I guess.
Question, Brennan.
Yes, sir.
Do you like it when someone puts a windfall on the stack and then flashes in an Ocean Thief?
Well, they're gaining the advantage from it, right?
Yeah. So you just don't like it because it's so symmetrical.
I don't like it because it like if you do these like types of cards or play these types of cards and you don't benefit from it, then it's just like you're setting everybody back for no reason.
Sure.
So what if they cast Awaken the Erstwhile while they have a Waste Not on the field? That would be acceptable, right? Because they'd be like getting a ton of advantage.
Yeah, I feel like that. Like,
yeah.
And like I said, like similar to mass land destruction. Like, if you're gonna blow up all the lands, like I hope you have like a creature that's gonna win you the game or something, right? Like, and that way, people when it happens, people can just sort of like, okay, I scoop, you win, it's fine. But if we're just discarding our hands and it's just an empty board state and everyone's in top deck mode for the rest of the game, like that's not fun. I don't think, like, for anybody.
Yeah, I think I agree. It's got to have some synergy in your deck. You don't just jam it in your deck and then, sit around with your zombies. I do think it leads to interesting board states though, where like what you're saying is that person had a choice, right? When you swung at him with all the zombies he gave you, he had a choice whether to block or not, right? And he chose to block and then lose the game to the other players and put you both behind. It's just a really interesting, like, what is the correct choice there? Do you block, or do you block some of them and let some of them through, or like what's the best thing you can do in that situation? I do think that is an interesting part about the card.
Yeah.
I also like it because it absolutely like does a big poo on like combo players' heads. So if they've got their combo set up and you Awaken the Erstwhile, like a blue control deck is just never having a good time after that.
Yeah, that's true.
I totally feel you though on that Sire of Insanity thing. That is a card, because it's repeatable. It's just so painful.
Yeah.
But if you cast Wit's End in a game of Commander, I kind of respect that. Like that's not a very good card, and if you pull it off, good for you.
That's a card that I dislike, but I really find the art very, very amusing.
Yeah.
Well, that's target player.
Yeah, it's
so
garbage.
Like, that's hilarious.
Yeah, the Wit's End thing. We had a nickname for it in my play group, but it's not appropriate to say.
What's the Kamigawa card that it's like 1 mana and you discard your hand and it doesn't do anything else?
Oh, One with Nothing. I love that card. It's horrible.
So bad.
Play it in Reanimator, Dimir Reanimator. Then you'll get some power out of that.
That's hilarious.
I'm not sure you will, unless you've got like I suppose you could have like a Dread Return in your bin. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool, actually.
There's also
play two tutors
abilities. There's that new card. Minty, you did a video on it, didn't you?
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, my new Oromi, the Deep Tide. Yeah. I don't know whether she wants you to, or they want you to discard your hand completely, but they do like discard. Yeah.
I think it would be amazing.
I guess if someone like Windfalls or like Wheel of Fortunes or something, and you're playing like a Reanimator deck, you just won with nothing first and discard your hand. Oh wait, no, I guess you don't because you're discarding it anyway. But if someone Windfalls you and you want stuff in your bin, you won with nothing.
You know what? I'm gonna Windfall, then I'm gonna Notion Thief, and then I'm gonna One with Nothing on principle.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, but if you had a Waste Not out, no, not a Waste Not, the zombie wizard that's like Waste Not but for yourself. What's that called? Oh my god, we can't remember any card names this week. I'll put it on screen. It's from one of the new Commander products, newer Commander products. What's it called? Never mind. No, it's Waste Not for yourself.
Yeah, zombie wizard.
Zombie wizard.
Oh,
Waste not.
Tormod?
No. It's not that new. Hang on. I'll search it.
You're not talking about the one that pings you for 1, are you?
No, that's a...
No, it's waste not on a creature.
It's waste not on a creature, basically. But it's not waste not. It's waste not for you on a creature. Ooh. There's Surly Badgersaur is the red version. I'll put that on screen as well, and everyone can now.
I think waste not is only for you as well.
No, waste not's for your opponents.
Oh, whenever I get it.
Yeah.
That's
so
what you mean.
Whenever you discard a card, you get whenever you discard a land card, you get double black. Whenever you discard a non-creature, non-land card, you draw a card, and whenever you discard a creature card, you create a 2/2 zombie.
You're gonna have to send me the name later.
I'm going to have to send you the name later, but it's very good in wheel decks, and it just loves discarding. So maybe one with nothing. Why am I still talking? I'm just going to shut up.
All right, Spencer, what do you got?
Oh, I love the sound of that. But what I got is I'm going to bring up 5 color commanders, specifically these 2, because I don't have a problem with most 5 color commanders. I think they're great. I think they're fun. And I do think they're oversaturated, which is actually why I was upset when they printed Golos. And then I doubled down on that when they printed Kenrith. My stance on that mainly focuses on Golos. A lot of that hate is bias. I am a Joda player. I love Joda. Golos is better Joda in many ways, plus some. So... he has an ability that just emulates Joda, but instead of doing it from your hand, you get to play more cards than just that, and you get it off your deck, which actually kind of makes him similar to Cascade. So he's also kind of like Yidris, who's also really good. But what's this? When he enters the battlefield, you get a search for a land card. Not a basic land card, a land card. That is insane. That is an ability that is too powerful. He lowers his commander tax by 1 every time you play him. And then on top of that, you can start using him to work towards pull it. If you happen to have a guy's cradle, you can pull that out. If you don't, you can get a Maze of Ith or some other land that's an answer to anything on the board. Or maybe you're going to be a Dark Depths player. Who knows? The Molten Pinnacle, maybe. There's so many options, and there's too many options. He's also colorless, so there's not really a difficulty in playing him, which is the same issue I would bring up with Kenrith. Monocolor, so it's really easy to play. All of the abilities they're all like target player or target creature abilities. I think that if you're going to build Kenrith, maybe then I'll be cool with you playing Grip of Chaos, because that would be funny, where you don't know who's going to win when you go infinite. But outside of that...
That'd be hilarious, actually.
Yeah, I feel like this card was a beautiful card for building Group Hug that they just lost the narrative on, allowed it to become this combo card, and now you hate it anytime you see it at a table. But if they had instead made it so it's target opponent or opponent's graveyard or target opponent's creature or a creature you don't control, I think this could have been a lot of fun, because you could have used it as this political tool. The alternative is, if you wanted to use it on yourself, just make them all tap abilities, because then you could still go infinite if you can untap him. But
just makes it a little more difficult.
That would make a lot of sense, actually.
So those 2 cards, back-to-back printings, dislike them.
I wasn't around when these cards were released, but they obviously have like a lot of infamy behind them. What was the initial reception of these when they first came out?
People love Kenrith.
Yeah.
People really like Kenrith.
People were also upset because it was the buy a box promo.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But Kenrith's got like a bit of a cult following, because he just looks like King Arthur from the Search for the Holy Grail.
Arthurian
Yeah,
mythology.
and I think that like that hurts the card as well, because like people really like it, and then you sit down with your Kenrith like weird theme deck, like you're doing
Yeah.
like Knights of the Round Table or whatever, or Monty Python, sorry.
Yeah.
But if you sat down at your LGS and someone saw Kenrith, then they'd probably just try and kill you, or
Yeah.
not believe that there's no combo in it or something. Right?
Well, there is a combo in mine, so
Oh, you do have a combo in yours?
I have multiple combos which all
Oh, I'm gonna
revolve
change mine
around
now.
oh
boy.
god,
knights.
no, stay to the theme.
No, they're all explainable, I'm sure.
Yeah, this is the Monty Python themed combo.
Yes, I mean it only involves knight cards, and I don't have any tutors.
Yeah, it's Hakon.
Yeah, Hakon, the knight that gains life from if you can play it from your graveyard if you've gained life this turn, and then like some sort of sacrifice outlet and lots of mana.
Great.
Well, Minty, I actually appreciate you telling us this.
Yeah.
Because that is actually what I think would be my disclaimer. If you are a person out there listening to this podcast, if you play Kenrith and you're running combos, make sure you tell whatever pod you're with. If you sit down and you built it with like, group hug, and that you win con with some sort of combo, then you can't sit down and just be like, oh yeah, I'm group hug. That's not really fair. That's not really honest. It's sort of disingenuous. If you're going to do that, sit down and be like, okay, so I do have a group hug build, but I win via combo, and you should all know that. Because
That's my sad Vial Smasher story, is that I got told it was group hug, and I definitely was not hugged.
He's like, it's group hug, man. I put a 1/1 counter on your creature like 5 turns ago.
It's group hug.
what kind of monster would say that Vial Smasher is group hug? Wow.
So get this, it was like the 6th EDH game I had ever played, since
that's
beginning,
awful.
and I'm like hitting the Discord up, and I'm like, hey, like I'm just starting out, it's probably like a 4 or 5, like, does anyone want to play? A buddy's like, yeah, I got this fun Vial Smasher deck. I call it Daddy's Belt. It's a good group hug. It's a fun group hug deck. And then like turn 4, it's like I'm dead to 10 infect damage from Vial Smasher.
Oh, great.
I hate Vial Smasher. Oh my god. Anyway, but I want to talk about Golos, because Golos can run a table out of removal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it just keeps coming back. And I think there is no mana cost that it's an unreasonable play just to tap out everything you have and play Golos. Because once you've done it for like the 5th time, it's just ridiculous. You have so many lands, and eventually Golos will stick, and once it sticks, you can just spin the top 3, and you just don't care. Golos is insane.
On that, I would add a disclaimer to Golos as well. If you are playing Golos, stop.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, Kenrith. I
hell.
feel like that is a card that deserved to be printed. It's not quite how I like it. I wish it was a little different. If you're playing it, have fun. Just be upfront. If you're playing Golos, I mean, still the same thing. Play whatever you want. But I do think that from a WotC R&D standpoint, this is a card that never should have been printed the way it is. It slipped through the cracks, and it is indicative of a lot of the issues people bring up with current card design. And it was brought up again with things like the new Omnath.
Yeah.
They're running a little wild, and we need to bring it back down. Let's calm down.
So, I think like one of the biggest problems just with like card design for 5-color commanders is giving them the 1-color mana cost.
Yeah.
I don't know. The first card I remember was like the Sisay from like Modern Horizons, but that card is still like very. It's like legendary tribal. It's still very powerful, but it's like limited. And these 2 cards are just like, it's a 5-color commander that has like a crazy ability, and you can do whatever you want. And it kind of makes like other 5-color commanders because people used to just pick a 5-color commander and it didn't really have anything to do with the strategy to be their commander. So now you just pick Golos or you just pick Kenrith, and it makes like, here's my 5-color Chromanticore deck where I never cast Chromanticore because I just want to be 5-color. It makes that like even more dumb.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. I don't mind, and this is the thing that I was talking about previously, when it has like a strong theme, like Sisay, 5-color commander. I think that's actually pretty good. Like it's restrictive. You have to pay the full 5 mana to get a legendary card with less power than Sisay's power from your library and put it onto the battlefield. That's restrictive enough to mean that if you wanted to run legendary tribal, you'd actually have to have a decision to be made. Well, should I play Sisay, or should I play less colours and play Joyra, or less colours and play
other Sisay?
The other Sisay, or what's the guy called? Not Kelsian.
Arvak?
The legendary elf that...
There's there's a legendary elf, isn't there? What's his name?
Yeah. I don't... He buffs all your legendaries as well, right?
Kethis, Hidden Hand.
Oh, yeah.
And you could play him. So, like, and each of those have their own sort of legendary strategy attached to them. And it's not just that the 5-color one is the best. So, like, again, Dragon Tribal. If you want to play Dragon Tribal, there's loads of different options, and all of them have their plus sides, and all of them have their downsides. And there are a couple of 5-color options inside that. So I like the fact that there's a strong theme, but it's not just that's the only card you play with the theme.
Yeah,
definitely.
Like, what's the Najila is another 5-color commander I just dislike. But anyway.
Oh yeah, that has the same
problem.
Just two in a red.
Yeah, and it's just literally insane. Like if you want to play a warrior deck, there's no point playing anything else. You might as well play her because she's 5-color and she's ridiculous.
Yeah, or just a competitive attacky deck.
Yeah.
It's why I feel Jodo was such good design. Is he's a 3-color commander, but his color identity is 5, and I feel like that's still enough to justify it. And then his ability, while very powerful, isn't broken. It's a cheat things into play kind of ability, of course, but it's not innately broken in and of itself, and I appreciate that design.
Do you know what I would like Golos to be?
Yeah.
Completely colorless.
That would be worse.
Oh boy.
You think?
Oh, if he was completely colorless.
Oh, then he would go in
color
every
identity,
deck.
that'd be great.
But he would go in every deck, though. That's the only issue.
Oh, I mean, just remove his other ability. Like his
right,
ability.
yes. Yeah, okay.
It'd just be a worse Solemn Simulacrum.
It would be a better
Man,
Solemn
it'd be a
Simulacrum.
better Solemn Simulacrum. Play him from the command zone. Lands matter, but it's specific lands. There's so much flavor there. And he lowers his commander cost, which is really, I think that would be way more interesting, because then you have a direction to build something really weird, and you have to build a colorless only deck, so you can't play any colored spells whatsoever.
Does Cabal Coffers have a color identity? Or just
Black.
Urborg doesn't?
It has black as its color identity.
Yeah, you tap for whatever in black.
Okay.
Interesting, however, I would say that I would add to that, if he got rid of his second line of text and had the Prismatic Piper's second line of text, so you choose a colour when he's in the command zone, that'd be sick.
Ooh.
Oh, that'd be...
Yeah, there we go.
Flavor.
Wizards R&D, just call us up.
You're welcome. I'd like to see if they do anything with him in the future, like make another card and maybe add some lore to it and stuff. Like the artworks. I like Golos looks like a cool character.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He looks like Chad Solemn Simulacrum.
He looks like Chromium in man form.
Oh, he is. It does look like Chromium.
Yeah, he's Chromium's 1/1.
And we've come full circle, everyone.
And that's the perfect time to end it.
Yeah, let's do that.
So,
Hey!
So Jordan, I don't know if you're prepared, but where can people find us?
You can find us at Instagram at the Canada Geeks. You can also find us on Twitter at Canada Geeks, twitch.tv/the Canada Geeks, and YouTube, youtube.com/the Canada Geeks.
Awesome. Yeah, and you can find this podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Can I plug me?
Yeah. And Minty, where can people find you specifically?
You can search Near Mint Gideon on YouTube. I don't have enough subscribers for my own custom URL yet, so which Brennan constantly bullies me about.
One day.
One day.
All right, everybody, we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Peace.
Bye.